Hi, Mr. Duke. Welcome you to Group A presentations. Our group members include Nguyen Vi, Thư Thuận, and me, Như. So here is our table of contents. So first one, we will introduce our companies, Vingroup, Vinamilk, FLC, FPT, Vietcombank respectively. So next is a calculator part, annual average return, total risk, systematic risk, and finally optimal weight. So coming up with the first company, Vingroup, its full name is Vingroup Choice Stock Company. This business line includes total 9 fields such as property, healthcare, education, technologies, etc. About ownership structures, so the highest percentage is Vietnam Investment Group, about 43.4%, and the second place belongs to the chairman of Vingroup, Mr. Phạm Nhật Vượng, about nearly 40%, with the other shareholders such as Vingroup, Chase SC, Mr. Phạm Thu Hương, etc. So it can be said that Vingroup is a large corporation making a great contribution to development of Vietnam in many fields. So now I will briefly the history. So they know as the Technocom Corporation, founded in the Ukraine in 1993. In the early 2000s, Technocom returned to Vietnam and focused on investing in tourism and real estate with the two initial brands Vinpearl and Vincom. Since 2003 until now, Vingroup has expanded into many fields and established a lot of big brands such as Vinhomes, VinFast, VinSchool, Vincom spread across Vietnam. Finally, I will describe financial performance of Vingroup for 3 years. It can be said that company revenue, equity, net profit, profit before tax, ROE, or earning per share into year 18 and 19 move upward rapidly. But during 2020, almost all proposition lists above had a moderate decrease compared to 2 years ago. Vingroup ROA is below 5% from 2018 until now. However, during 3 years of the pandemic, the company still did very well. Total assets increased significantly every year. It shows that Vingroup is a strong and formidable company when it supports their subsidiaries not to go bankrupt, but also develop their revenue. So next, we continue to summarize our second company, Vinamilk.
Thank you, Như, for your information about Vingroup. My name is Ngọc Vi, and I will be introducing you to the most famous milk producer in Vietnam, Vinamilk. Here are some remarkable highlights of this company. First, the full name of Vinamilk is Vietnam Dairy Product Joint Stock Company. The stock ticker is symbolized as VNM, and the business industry is dairy product. In 2003, Vinamilk officially capitalized. 3 years later, it was officially listed on the HOSE. In 2013, Vinamilk acquired 100% share from Thống Nhất Thanh Hóa Dairy, making it a wholly owned subsidiary of Vinamilk. As Vinamilk wants to expand the business, the company holds 100% capital of its subsidiary in Poland. And just lately, in 2021, Vinamilk was developing a beef project in Vĩnh Phúc province with a total investment of about $500 million. Lastly, up to now, Vinamilk has built 14 dairy factories, namely Bình Định, Cần Thơ, Đà Nẵng, Nghệ An, Tiên Sơn, and many more. Here, I have Vinamilk ownership structure. The three biggest shareholders of Vinamilk are Tổng công ty đầu tư và kinh doanh vốn nhà nước SCIC, F&N Dairy Investments, and Platinum Victory, with the proportion of 46.1%, 22.7%, and 13.6% respectively. Apart from that, other investors are extremely diverse as they come from different regions of the world, such as Switzerland, Hong Kong, United Kingdom, to name a few. This makes the list of shareholders at up to 20 companies. Lastly, I would like to mention Vinamilk's financial performance. Generally, in 2020, Vinamilk achieved record high total revenue at nearly 60,000 billion and a slight increase in net profit. Next, we can see that the total debt of the company is rather high at 14,785 billion compared to 2018. However, total assets rose tremendously, more than 10,000 billion within 2 years, from 44 to 48 billion. This made Vinamilk's total equity still on the significant growth from about 26 billion to 33 billion. Nonetheless, investors in Vinamilk's stock might be worried because the earning per share witnessed a decrease, which might indicate a downturn in its business and lesser profits to distribute to the stockholders. That is everything you need to know about Vinamilk. Thank you.
Hello teacher, my name is Nguyen and welcome to my part. Today I'm going to present about my company's portfolio, the FLC Group. So its full name is FLC Group Joint Stock Company and their stock ticker in Vietnamese Stock Exchange is FLC, as the same as their abbreviation form. And about their business lines, right now they are doing in hotel and resort industry and also tourism as well. However, their main concentration is real estate construction and real estate development. And about their brief history, so in 2001, their very first predecessor, the Investment Supervision and Management Consulting Joint Stock Company, abbreviated SMIC, was established. And in 2010, the merger of the member company has led to the establishment of the FLC group that we know today. And in 2017, they started their expansion into high-tech agriculture sector with their brand name FLC Farm. And also in 2017, the FLC Quy Nhơn was inaugurated, which is their very first movement into resort industry. In January 2019, they launched their very first commercial flights with their aerial brand, the Bamboo Airways. And how about their ownership structure? So in 2022, Trịnh Văn Quyết is the largest shareholder with around 30.3% compared to the second highest of the shareholder, the VBGA Golf Training Co. Ltd, with around 6.3% of the shareholdings. And the remaining figures was occupied by external investors. And about their financial performance. So during the research period, we can see that the FLC annual financial performance have been improving gradually. But we also can see that their net income had decreased over the research period, and this combination has led to the decrease in their return on assets. And that's all for my part. The next company's portfolio, which is the FPT, will be presented next by my teammate Thư.
Thanks, Nguyen. I will present the FPT portfolio. The full name is FPT Corporation and the stock ticker is FPT. Let's move to the business line. They are information and technology, publishing industry, escape internet, software publisher. Now I will briefly discuss about the history of FPT. There are three highlight items due to now. In 1988, the FPT was established. In 2012, the FPT retail chain and e-commerce were expanded. In 2020, FPT was strengthening its presence on the globe. Next is FPT ownership structure. The pie chart illustrates the percentage FPT shareholder in ownership structure as updated in 2022. A significant proportion of the share belong to institutions with 61.7%, whereas SCIC hold the minor share with 5.8%. Internal shareholder and external individual achieve nearly 17.8% and 14.8% respectively. Finally, let's look at the equity financial performance. There has been a fluctuating trend in ROA from 2017 to 2020, although the total assets have dramatically grown. On the other hand, the total equity substantially increased throughout 3 years, and the data on ROE is proportional to the total equity. While EPS has a small variability, the BE is more robust and has increased during last 3 years. The total liability and the total profit before tax have grown at the same time. Whereas the total revenue has significantly fallen, it's impossible to explain that the COVID-19 pandemic has led to the global economic crisis. Next, Minh Thuận will present the next portfolio. Thank you.
Okay, and my name is Dong, and I will continue to provide information about Vietcombank. And about the portfolio, the company's name is Johnstock Commercial Bank for Foreign Exchange of Vietnam, and the stock ticker is VCB. And business line is include commercial banking, investment banking, transaction, security investment, insurance, and financial service. And about the history, on April 1, 1963, Vietcombank officially opened its operation. As day October 30 in 1962, issued by the performance also on the basis of separation under the State Bank of Vietnam. And on June 30 in 2009, Vietcombank officially listed on share on Ho Chi Minh City Stock Exchange. And on September 30 in 2011, signing a contract to give shareholder contract with Mizuho Corporate Bank. And next, I will give you the information about the ownership structure of Vietcombank. And the pie chart shows that the shareholder structure last updated in March 2021. As State Bank of Vietnam, Vietcombank State Capital Representative is the bank largest shareholder with 74.9% of the State Bank of Vietnam. And Mizuho Corporate Bank, a strategic shareholder, have 15% of the charter capital, and 10.2% of the Vietcombank charter capital is held by other shareholders, including foreign investors and domestic investors. In the next slide, I will give you the information about the financial performance of Vietcombank. And the stable above reflects Friday financial performance for Vietcombank for 3 consecutive years from 2018 to 2020, and the organization is still growing strong, especially as total asset, total equity, and revenue increased in the period from 2018 to 2020. And net profit, EPS, return on asset, and return on equity is fluctuating in 3 years. However, in the period 2019 to 2020, the net profit, EPS, return on equity, and return on asset index decreased together. Moreover, EPS index increased from 2018 to 2020, really to the increase in the PE ratio. Furthermore, return on equity and return on asset index have an erratic trend from 2018 to 2020. So, beyond the upper table, it can be seen that Vietcombank financial activity have many fluctuations in 2020. We saw that Vietcombank gradually becoming independent of debt and financially stable. The reason clearly due to the strong COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Therefore, the Vietcombank economic activity in that year decreased significantly. And the next part of presentation is average annual return. And I will pass to my friend to present.
Hi, this is Ngọc Vi again. So now me and Win will be analyzing the annual average return of our 5 companies, the whole portfolio, and the VN Index. Overall, the annual average return rate of our portfolio, 24.23%, is greater than the VN Index, which is 17.44%. This data suggests that the portfolio consists of very powerful enterprises. Therefore, investors may be optimistic about the long-term growth of the portfolio in the future. On a closer look, it is noticeable that Vinamilk was heavily a struggling period with only 3.89% in annual average return rate, which was tremendously minor compared to the VN Index, 17.44%, and other companies in the portfolio, 20% at least. Therefore, investing in Vinamilk stock might not be a great option. However, stockholders can still hope for a rise again, as this might just be a short crisis of the giant milk producer. On the contrary, FPT's annual average return rate peaked on top at 35%, showing a positive sign of a sustainable company. In fact, comparing FPT stock price in 2020 at 37,010 Vietnam dong with 2022 at 89,500 Vietnam dong, we can see a significant growth of 242% within only 2 years. This figure shows that the technology and data industries are in explosive growth and may even go further in the future as we step deeper into the 4.0 industrial revolution. Hence, investing in FPT stock could be an ideal choice both for now and in the long run.
So thanks for introducing me. So after we describe and compare very detail about FPT, Vinamilk, VN Index, and our group portfolio, I will continue to illustrate the remaining annual average return. Let's come up with the next sector, real estate and construction, with two companies, FLC and Vingroup. So you can see in this chart here, FLC obviously has a higher return than Vingroup, about 11.18%. But if you look closely at the following table here, you can see that FLC annual return rate is uneven. In 2017, the average return was very low, nearly minus 30%, but suddenly in next year, this rate increased significantly, about 15.26% here. Compared to Vingroup, Vingroup has a higher share price than FLC, which can see that the company has a good growth and performance. In addition, Vingroup return rate over the years has increased and decreased steadily, and in 3 years from 20 to 22, Vin annual average return rate is much higher than FLC. So it can be seen that if investing in stock, investors should invest in Vin instead of FLC. Finally, the bank industry, Vietcombank annual average return rate, which accounts for a very high grade, up to 27.32% here. Among the company, only Vietcombank had a positive grade during the past 5 years. So it can be said that Vietcombank had a difficulty during the pandemic period, but it did very well. Vietcombank stock is also a positive in this year, so it's worthy of investment. So next part, total risk will be described by Thư and Nguyen.
For the total risk part, we all know that all of the organizations or any firms have to face with their own risk when doing business. But the question is how to evaluate them properly. There are two optimal approaches to evaluate them, which are variance and standard deviation in its stock price. So right now, let's have a look at the very first firm, but also the one who has highest standard deviation and variance values, the FLC. So the question is how can they achieve, why they achieve such high values? First, like we all know that the FLC has conducted their business in various sectors, so that it means that they have to be higher risk compared to others. But in our theory, it means that they can also have higher returns. And second, in 2021, Mr. Wick, the current president of the FLC, committed to unofficial and unregistered stock trading, which harmed the firm's credibility and also affect negatively to consumers and customers' trust. So that in general, our groups recommend we shouldn't invest in FLC. And comes to the second one, Vinamilk, who also has the lowest value in its variance and standard deviations. So again, the question is how can they have such lowest value? The first reason is that in contrast with the FLC, Vinamilk has conducted their business mainly in one sector, the dairy products, which usually have normal or high consumer demands. And secondly, even though in COVID, they have managed their costs effectively, that their gross margin had a lower rate of decrease than the price increase of their inputs. And even being the safest one amongst the selected five. But the question is, should we invest in Vinamilk stocks? After researching, our group found that, firstly, in the first 2 months of their operation in 2022, their actual stock price had just fluctuated around 80,000 Vietnam dong, which is less than their target price of 90,000 Vietnam dong. And second, their consolidated financial performance have shown that they are already in maturity stage, that they generated positive values in operating activities, but negative in both financing and investing ones. So our group recommend that we shouldn't invest in Vinamilk as well. And that's all for my part. The next total risk of the three other companies will be presented next by my teammate Thư.
Thanks, Nguyen. I will continue to present the total risk part. Some stock hold the average standard deviation and variance, but when compared to VN Index stock, the number of standard deviation and variance of VIC, VCB, and FPT seem to be slightly higher than the ratio of VN Index. Let's move to the VIC stock. Vingroup is the largest and the most complex corporation with the operation in various industries. Vingroup reported a loss of 7,500 billion Vietnam dong in its consolidated financial statement for the fourth quarter of 2021. Therefore, the optimal way portfolio of our group suggests investing about 14.86% in 1 million Vietnam dong. Come to the FPT stock. FPT is trading at BE 20 and 21 and 20 and 22 at 17.44 times and 15.7 times respectively. Over the same period, the pre-tax profit margin increased to 18.3% as digital transformation service and software export increased. Hence, the expert recommend a purchase with the target price of 1,009,000 Vietnam dong per share. Next is VCB. VCB exceeded its profit target in 20 and 21 by 9.5%. At the end of 20 and 21, on the balance sheet, bad debt ratio remained low at 0.64%. Experts suggest buying with the target price of 97,600 Vietnam per share. Finally, I will briefly talk about the group portfolio stock. Most stocks have high variance and standard deviation. Moreover, the economic risk was due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the stock market risk was due to FLC scandal. Hence, it is suitable to invest in the group portfolio, and VN Index difference are not too significant. Next, Minh Thuận will present the systematic risk. Thank you.
Okay, next part, I will give you the information about the beta. And according to the corporate finance beta coefficient, is the sensitivity of the stock return to the return on the market portfolio. And the beta coefficient measures systematic risk, which is defined as the uncertainty of part of the market situation, including GDP, interest rate, inflation, and other economic indicators. a sample of systematic risk, and all of our calculations are followable in the general. And Vietcombank had a beta which is the highest among the remaining stock and indicate that its stock is riskier than the foreign markets. While the Vinamilk beta is that it rather low at 0.704. This not in a market portfolio less risky. And next slide. This project above illustrates the systematic risk of five mentioned stock compared with VN Index and our group portfolio. And instead of the systematic risk or beta coefficient, the beta indicate how volatile the stock are compared to the overall markets. And not depicted in the chart, it can be seen that the overall markets of VN Index post at the beta of 1. And our group portfolio systematic risk is just to be 0.897, which said to be less risky, and this index is acceptable. And why the when we specify the right, it is clear that the equity, FLC, Vinamilk, and Vingroup have a beta of less than 1. It implies that the security move in the same direction as the market. And however, in the visual, the indicators are less volatile than the market. For the K beta coefficient is greater than 1, we have only one stock of the portfolio with Vietcombank with the beta of 1.091. It means that the Vietcombank beta index change in the same as the market, but it is essentially quite unstable. In this case, it is risky than the K of whole, but could bring a higher expected return for investor. And the next part is optimal way, and I will pass to my friend to present.
So after selecting the statistic in 4 parts above and using Excel software to calculate the optimal way of buying those stocks, we conclude that the most profitable approach for investors is to invest more than 48.55% of their financial ability in FBT among these 5 selected firms. The reason why this is the highest return calculated above in part 1 and also has the second lowest total risk. While there is a significant growth in the investment for FBT, the 4 other percentage go down. Their investment in Vingroup and Vietcombank decreased about nearly 15% and 13.22% respectively. Furthermore, with the highest total risk among the chosen 5, FLC should be invested in less by nearly 17% so as to maintain the whole benefit of the investor. Last but not least, Vinamilk highest stability in its stock, lowest variance and standard deviations, but the expected returns offer the lowest one compared with the others. Consequently, the firm might not worth investing in according to Excel software. In conclusion, based on the data calculated in 5 parts, we conclude that we will use 1 billion Vietnam dong to invest in company in the following order of priority. The best choice is FPT. The next is Vingroup and Vietcombank. And we will consider investing in FLC and eventually Vinamilk. So, this is the end of our presentation. Thanks for listening and have a good day.